There have been very few moments in my life where my breath has been completely taken away, and experiencing Yosemite Firefall for the very first time was one of those moments.
We made it. Finally found our spot. We're gonna capture Firefall for the first time. Really, really excited.
It was such a surreal moment for me, like the way the waterfall just lit up like a match and just lasted for just a few minutes. It just blew my mind, and I finally understood why so many people would travel to Yosemite every year just to see this phenomenon. And if you don't know what Yosemite Firefall is, it's a rare moment that happens just for a few weeks in February where the sun sets in a certain way that lights up Horsetail Falls like it's on fire, hence the name Firefall. And when I was planning the trip, I haven't found any video clearly explaining exactly what to do, how to get to Yosemite, where to stay in Yosemite, where are the best locations to capture Firefall, what kind of gear to bring. And so my friend Chris and I have decided to make our own videos to clearly explain exactly what to do if you want to capture Yosemite Firefall. First of all, if you are going just for fun and capturing photos and videos just for personal use and to make home videos or whatever, then you don't need a permit. If you are a content creator wanting to capture Yosemite Firefall and put that content on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, you need to get a film permit. Basically, with the new rules, if you plan on filming Yosemite Firefall and putting it on a platform like YouTube, a platform that makes money, then you have to apply for a permit. It doesn't matter if you monetize that video or if your channel is monetized, because YouTube is a platform that puts ads on videos, regardless of your monetization status, you have to apply for a film permit. In terms of photography, you could totally take photos and put them on Instagram. It's kind of a weird gray area, and who knows if the rules will change, and so definitely check with the National Park Service's website for updated information. But if you want to film video and put that content on YouTube, then you gotta apply for a film permit. Also, shout out to my friend Jevin Dovey, who made a video about filming in national parks. If you wanna see his videos, links will be down below. But after finding out that I had to apply for a film permit, I sent in my application right away. Also, you wanna apply early for a film permit at Yosemite or any national park. They recommend at least 60 days, and we didn't know this, but 6 weeks before traveling to Yosemite, we found out that we had to apply for a film permit. And so I quickly applied for a film permit, sent my application to check in the mail for next day delivery, only to find out that 2 days before traveling to Yosemite, I was looking up the status of where my application was, and turns out that it was not delivered at all. I paid money for next day delivery, but they didn't receive it. And it wasn't really their fault. The reason why they didn't receive the application the next day is because mail is not actually received in Yosemite. They received the mail in a town near Yosemite, a town called El Portal. And traveling from Yosemite to El Portal and then back to Yosemite takes a long time. Like, there's a lot of windy roads to travel between Yosemite and El Portal, which is why they probably don't check their mail every week. They probably check it every 60 days. I don't know. So when they say apply for a film permit at least 60 days before you travel to Yosemite, they really mean it. Fortunately for us, when we arrived in Yosemite, we actually got permission to film in the park. So huge shout out to the good people at NPS for communicating with us and helping us apply for the film permit properly. And so yeah, if you plan on filming in any national park, just apply for a film permit at least 60 days in advance.
It took us about, I don't know what, 5 weeks to figure this whole thing out. And we weren't gonna get a permit because I didn't hear from them. But I just got an email just now saying that they got the dates confused. They didn't know that we're filming today. As long as you're filming handheld, no props, no models, none of that stuff, will allow filming this time, but please next time apply more in advance. Yes! Oh, this is a great day.
Now, traveling to Yosemite was really fun. I was flying from Dallas, Texas, and my friend Chris was flying from Toronto, Canada. The plan was for us to fly into San Francisco Airport, meet around the same time, and then drive together from San Francisco to Yosemite. And that drive was supposed to take 4.5 hours, but because we decided to drive an EV, it took us about 6. you know, recharging the car. We'll talk about that later, but if you wanted to fly into another airport that's a bit closer to Yosemite, Fresno Airport is a bit closer, and the drive from Fresno to Yosemite takes about 3 hours. And so yeah, if you do plan on traveling to Yosemite, those are the two best airports to fly into, and so yeah, just plan accordingly. Now, the drive from San Francisco to Yosemite. If you're driving a normal car, you should be totally fine. Like you can just fill up your gas tank once, maybe halfway through, and then be totally fine reaching Yosemite and then driving back. But because we drove an EV, we had to recharge a couple times, and we learned very quickly when driving EVs uphill, it drains the battery faster than when driving on a flat surface. We learned that the hard way.
You think that's enough to get us there?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
We're going to find out.
There was a moment where when we were getting close to the park where we weren't sure if there was going to be a quick charge station, and so we had to turn around and drive back, recharge our vehicle fully because we wanted to make sure that we had enough battery to get us to the park and get us out. And the closest quick charge station before entering Yosemite is about 80 miles away. And so yeah, if you plan on driving an EV, make sure to charge up, just common sense. But also we did find out that there are several quick charge stations in Yosemite, and we stayed at the Yosemite Valley Lodge, and in that parking lot there are 4 charging stations. And so yeah, that was a huge relief when we saw those.
All right, we made it to Yosemite. We had like 40 miles left on the vehicle, but fortunately we found a charging station right by the lodge, but we survived.
And speaking of lodging, we decided to stay at the Yosemite Valley Lodge. There were options to stay outside the park, but we didn't want to drive into the park every single day. We just wanted to make our lives easier and just be in the park. And the great thing about Yosemite Valley Lodge is that it's pretty central to most of the trailheads in that area, and also not very far from Horsetail Falls, which is where Yosemite Firefall happens. And so if you plan on capturing Yosemite Firefalls, then stay at the Yosemite Valley Lodge. The beds are quite comfy. They have shampoo, body wash, they even have a hair dryer, and there's also a gift shop and a grocery store if you're missing a few things. And so if you're trying to figure out what to pack, what to bring to Yosemite, then don't stress out too much. They have pretty much everything. How much did I pay per night? It was like $325 per night, $350, something like that. We only stayed for 2 nights because it was a little pricey, but people stay for the entire week just because they not only want to see Firefall, but you know, they want to see Tunnel View, they want to see Glacier Point, they want to see all the things. And I know that might seem like a lot of money, but like when you get to the park, like it's so worth it. Like honestly, it's worth every penny. Now, capturing Firefall. So the most popular location to capture Firefall is at the El Capitan picnic area. And real quick, if you don't know where the El Capitan picnic area is, it's near El Capitan on the North Road. It's a great angle to capture Firefall, but the only problem is that everybody is there capturing the same angle. And so being that Chris and I are both artists, we decided to go down the South Road, hike up a trail called 4 Mile Trail, hike up for 1 mile, and then capture Firefall from a higher angle. But when we got to 4 Mile Trail, we saw a sign that said a $5,000 penalty for anyone that crosses the trailhead.
So we were going to go this way to shoot on the 4 Mile Trail, and well, I mean, it's not technically open, so we were okay with the 280. And then we saw this. Yeah, I don't think so. $5,000 is a little bit different, so we're gonna have to go to the regular spot that everyone goes to.
And as we were hiking down South Road, we found a good location, but then the ranger said, no one's allowed to be here. In fact, the entire South Road is completely closed. And the only area to capture Firefall is at the El Capitan picnic area. Yeah, irony. Just complete irony. So we're like, okay, fine, whatever. Let's just continue hiking down South Road, connect to North Road, and get to the El Capitan picnic area, because a rule of thumb when capturing Yosemite Firefall is to arrive 3 hours before sunset. And that way you find a good location before the crowds arrive. And on the map, hiking from South Road to North Road looked pretty easy. It wasn't. It took us about 90 minutes to hike around South Road to North Road. It was probably the worst moment of my life. It was awful. And funny enough, where we parked along South Road, there was a bridge connecting South Road to North Road, which would have saved us so much time and grief. And also we found out that there was a free shuttle taking people from the Yosemite Valley Lodge to the El Capitan picnic area. We didn't know. And so yeah, if it's your first time in Yosemite trying to capture Yosemite Firefall, just ask the people at the front desk what is actually their recommendation to capture Yosemite Firefall. And they'll probably tell you, hey, there's a shuttle. You don't need to hike South Road like these dummies did years ago. And so anyway, we arrived at the El Capitan area and found a location, and now it's time to set up our gear.
We made it. Finally found our spot. We're gonna capture Firefall for the first time. Really, really excited.
I knew I wanted to capture a close-up shot of Yosemite Firefall, and so I brought this combo here. I brought the Sony a7R5 and the 7200 G Master Lens Mark II. I also used a 50mm prime lens just to see what kind of perspective I would get from it, but the 7200 was the best lens to use for the trip. So if you can, try to rent a lens like this, or if you have a standard zoom lens like a 24-70, that's totally fine too. I just think the 70-200 is a better option.
Now right now I'm shooting with the 7200 G Master Lens Mark II. I will be using the new Sony 50mm 1.4 for like the wide shot, but yeah, I kind of want to get the close-up shot first. It looks like the water's trickling down. Well, you don't see it, but it is.
Also, if you can, try to bring a second camera so that you can film a time-lapse as Firefall happens. Chris actually did that, and if you want to see that time-lapse, it'll be on his YouTube video, so definitely check that out. But at the very least, a decent camera and a decent lens should be totally fine. Although, I captured Firefall on my iPhone, and it looked pretty good too, so there's also your phone. But when you're there, just try to be patient, especially if you arrive early. Bring a book, bring some games, bring a chair, bring a picnic blanket, bring snacks, and also dress warm. Like, February is still pretty cold in Yosemite. Like, we brought our winter jackets and we were still pretty cold. And so at the gift shop, we actually bought these hand and toe warmers to keep inside us to keep us warm. But yeah, just dress warm. And finally, when Firefall does happen, try to capture as many shots as you possibly can. You can't really go wrong if you leave the camera to auto settings, but if you're a little braver, then definitely mess with the exposure and the shutter speed just to see if you can achieve different looks. But most of all, and probably the most important advice that I can give you, take a moment and see Firefall with your very own eyes. Like, very often we're behind the camera trying to capture the shot, you know, but you don't want to miss a moment like that. Like, I was capturing a bunch of stuff, but I just remember looking up and just being completely in awe of what I was seeing with my very own eyes. And I just kind of stopped taking pictures, I stopped filming, and I just looked at Yosemite Firefall with so much gratitude of my life. Like, I know it's corny, but it's just one of those things that makes you appreciate life, and it was one of the most beautiful moments ever. And so, yeah, do the best you can to capture Yosemite Firefall, but also do the best you can to savor that moment. It was a really great experience to see Yosemite with my friends, and I make a lot of videos for YouTube. Like, this is my full-time job. A lot of my videos are sponsored, and so it feels like I'm working for a brand. It's like client work. But I made it a point this year to start making stuff for me. Like, I want to take photos because I want to. I want to film things because I want to. And this trip to Yosemite was really special because I wanted to do it for me. And I'm so glad that I did, and I'm glad that I did it with friends that I love and adore. And I just want to encourage all of you to do the same thing. I mean, not necessarily go see Yosemite Firefall, but just go out and do something that you've always wanted to do. And if you can, do it with the ones you love, because it'll only make that moment more special.